Hello, everyone, and as always, welcome back to Strategy Gaming Dojo, where we find, learn, and play one more turn of the great strategy games. And today we're back into our PBEM challenge against the mischievous Lodric, a good friend of the channel, and we are battling him. It is still just turn one. Now, Lodric bombarded the heck out of a bunch of allied bases on turn one. He sunk a bunch of stuff. Now we're setting up our turn this time. So I think this is the third episode of the setup. Of course, in this game, the setup just takes a very long time. I enjoy the heck out of it. Some of you may not. That's why I'm numbering these 3.1, 3.2, 3.3. And going forward with this series, that's how I'll do it is essentially we'll have a turn resolution will be the episode, whatever number, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then any moves I make, any further setup or deployments, things like that, I'll do 4.1, 4.2, whatever the case may be. But we've got to get this turn back to Lodric. I've been I had a lot of things going on, so we've got to motor through here. With this game, motoring isn't maybe the right word. But pun intended, pun not intended. Hell, I don't know. But let's start on the U.S. West Coast this time. We're going to move right up the coast. So we've already done Pearl Harbor and some of the things floating around Pearl Harbor, including two of our carriers that are out there exposed right now. This is, directly post Pearl Harbor, the bombing of Pearl Harbor on December 7th. As you can see, we're on December 9th. We did not make any turns or any moves on December 7th. And so we've done the area in and around the Hawaiian Islands. We've done the U.S. East Coast. We have done the Panama Canal. We've done, kind of the off-map bases over here to the right. But now we're going to move up the U.S. West Coast. We've done Canada, then we'll go into Alaska. Okay, so here we are at San Diego, and what the heck is going on, San Diego? Good morning, San Diego. We have got some SNJ-3 Texan fighters. Okay, these pilots have no experience. Now, there's only two of these fighters, so it's not like, we have a big bunch of them. We have some Mohawks here. Again, low experience, as you'll see with almost all the Allied pilots at the start. We also have some Catalinas. None of these are, four carriers, let's say. They're essentially going to all go into training. So we'll just do training 100 escort. Let's look at the Texan. It's really not a great fighter aircraft. You really want it less than 10,000 feet. Um, so we will do that. So I'll just pop it down to 9,000. Yeah, you could leave this at 10,000, but we'll want the range to go to 0 for training. All right, training escort, great. The Catalinas, I just moved that over to bombs. You probably saw that. I kind of almost do that involuntarily. At the start of the game, you really only want your torpedoes going to actual torpedo bombers that may see some action. So for instance, our torpedo bombers out on our carriers, we definitely want them to have enough torpedoes. So take all of these training aircraft really off of torpedoes for the most part. For the most part. And we want this to train up. So we'll click this up to 100. 6,000 or 8,000. Now, somebody said in the comments that it has now become, well, I guess it doesn't matter. This isn't really a bomber, it's a float patrol. 6,000 is probably fine for a float patrol. But someone in the comments said that on the matrix boards, it's been determined that for bombing, 8,000 feet is the best altitude. So I guess we'll just go with that unless somebody tells me differently. I usually always run them either 6,000 to 9,000, somewhere in that range, 6,000 to 9,000. You really don't want them up over 10,000 feet until you get into strategic bombing kind of things. But this is just a float patrol. Okay, I'll shut up and start doing more things. Here we go. I don't want this to take 16 hours just to set up San Diego. Training, escort, 100. Perfect. Let's look at the Mohawks. The Mohawks are pretty dang good up at 10,000 feet. They're even pretty dang good at 15,000 feet. We'll leave these at 10, and we'll take that range to 0. Okay, and so those are the planes. You can see, you can always click over here on the little airfield. Training, 100%. That's what you want to see. Now, you see the Mohawks, will not get out of here. They're in the fourth U.S. bomber. U.S. N Fleet Air West, we certainly could, buy those out and move them if we wanted to, but we'll probably just use these as trainers. We may go take them up to March Field at some point. I like to congregate similar things at similar air bases for more than anything, just so I don't forget where the hell they all are. One U.S. amphibious is here. We can look at the different ground units that we have here. We've got base forces that we need to get out to the Pacific. We've got 2nd Marine Defense Battalion that can go out to the Pacific. We've got a few things that are restricted, but we could buy out. And then you see 8th Marine Regiment, which has an incredibly high AV for this early in the game. We will want to get that on a transport as fast as we can, or I should say transports, because 7445 is no small amount of load cost. We've also got more port services here, okay, and we've got one U.S. amphib, which is a headquarters, which will eventually head out to the Pacific as well. As you can see, the developers very nicely showed us where some of these things should go, probably. Um, and that includes Pago Pago. Now, one thing I really want to do is congregate all of my troop loads out of Los Angeles and all of my cargo slash fuel. I say all, it can't be all, but a vast majority of that coming out of San Francisco and do it that way. Um, that's just how I like to do it when I set it up myself. Now, when we did the playthrough before, I was using Cole's spreadsheet. He does things the way he does them. It doesn't make it wrong or anything. As a matter of fact, he's probably thought much deeper about these issues than anybody alive, maybe. So but you can't go wrong following his spreadsheet. I've just done things for years a certain way, and so that's how I will do them. Okay, so we've looked at these. I mean, we kind of get an idea of what we've got here. We could move some things around, but for right now, what I'm going to do is go look at the ships in port. And as you can see, we have 44. So we have no task forces here, and we have 44 ships in port. You can also see here at San Diego, we have 51,000 supply, 19,000 fuel. Okay, let's go look at our types of ships that we have here, and you see the big headliner is the carrier Saratoga. Doo, 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 doo. Here come the U.S. carriers, the carrier Saratoga. If we look at the Saratoga, it's already loaded up with some Wildcats, some Dauntlesses, and some Devastators, and that is always um, the lineup here early in the game. Now, sometimes you'll get a fifth one, and here we see it. Also, some buffaloes. So don't ever forget about that. You do have some buffaloes down here. The Wildcats are the fighters. The Dauntlesses, what do you want to call them? They're dive bombers, I guess. And so they're going to be doing a lot of naval searches. The Dauntlesses, the Devastators here. Are torpedo bombers. So you have dive bombers and torpedo bombers. Um, and then finally, the Buffaloes. So the Buffaloes and the Wildcats are your cap that will go over the top. Let's just go ahead and set those. Now, we've got those at 10,000 feet with the Wildcats. Wildcats really could go up to 20,000 feet. Does that make sense off of a carrier? Probably not, unless you're getting, once you get offensive, maybe. But at this point, you really want to stop torpedo bombers and other things getting down below the deck. And when I say the deck, I consider 10,000. What am I talking, like Maverick? It's like Top Gun. You can't go below the safety deck. 10,000 feet is what I consider kind of the standard altitude in this game. Um, Dive bombers, things like that, that could threaten the carriers when you're being completely defensive, really are going to come in much lower than, let's say, 20,000 feet. Those guys could be up running cap that high and never even get down to those bombers. So I like to keep them at 10 or 15,000 early on, but probably really 10. You can see they've got great experience to start with, so we will immediately put them up in cap. At a 50% level, I'll keep them at 10,000 feet. I back their range usually early on at 6. I just don't want to lose any from operational losses. Then the Dauntlesses we put on naval search. You can see it was set up for training, but let's take those down to 8,000 feet. Got a maximum of 8. Let's back them off to 7. Again, just trying to protect against any unnecessary operational losses early on. Same old deal here, naval search everywhere. Uh, Eventually you'll want those on naval attack, but right now we're really going to be, defensive and through probably the middle to late of 42. We'll take these down to 8,000. We'll take their maximum range down to 7. Now you see this a lot with the Dauntlesses. You'll have one group that's got a maximum of 7, a normal of 6, and the other group has an 8 and a 7. Why it's that way, I'm not exactly sure. I'm not exactly sure. I wish I could give you a better. I wish I had an answer for you. Using torpedoes, I always like these guys at actually 6,000 feet. That's where I bring them in. I put them on naval attack immediate, or I'm sorry, naval search. We'll get off train. For now, they'll be on naval search. If we find something we really want a naval attack, we'll do it. But are we going to be hitting airfields anytime soon? No, no. So 5. This can dial back to 4 for now. And then we'll take the VMF 221s. Yeah, there's a 62 experience. We'll go up into escort. We'll get off train and we'll go to cap at 50. Also for these, we'll probably leave them at 10. We could put them up at 15 maybe and get a little layer going, or hell, I don't know. But let's put them at 12. Why not? It doesn't really matter this early on. We will go back and definitely optimize these when they may see some action. All right, so all of the air is set up on these. That reminds me, I need to go back to the Lexington and Enterprise and make sure they're floating out in the Pacific and make sure we have those the way we want. We'll be getting the Yorktown before too long. That will also come into San Diego, but let's go back, form a new task force here. It's going to be a surface combat task force, of course. Where are my ships? Oh no. Duh. What am I doing? Hold on. Hold on. Form new. It's not surface combat. What is wrong with me? Air combat. Dang it. And yeah, everything they show you here is going into air combat at San Diego. These ships were just sitting here waiting to be formed up into a task force. My old mind is sitting here trying to get them to go into surface combat. That's not a good idea with your carriers generally. You'd much rather do air combat. As you can see, these have a really, well, I'm trying to remember last time I set this up myself. Are there any destroyers over here? I'm sure there probably might be. No. Okay. Well, we're gonna go out. The reason I was looking at that is, these destroyers have very short endurances, and so they're gonna go out to Pearl Harbor. It looks like they can easily make it. We're gonna set their home at Pearl Harbor as well, and they won't have a problem. Now, usually these shorter range or shorter endurance destroyers, I like to be close into the ports on the West Coast or up and around Pearl Harbor. That's what we'll use these for eventually as we get better destroyers later on. They are all a 2 anti-submarine, and remember in this game, it's really kind of a 1 to 9 rating. A 2 is not good. It's not very good, but it's something. It's better than nothing against the subs. They've got a little anti-air, and as you saw, we also have one light cruiser, the Concorde. It's got a little bit of anti-air too. It's not, you would never float this out here like this unless this was the first turn of the game, right? So, a month or two on, don't be sending carriers out with one light cruiser and 6 shitty destroyers. That is recipe for disaster. Okay, we've got a lot of subs in here. We've got an AS in here, which is a sub tender. This will probably actually send up to Alaska. We've got some other tenders here that we'll want to take out. We've got a lot of stuff here. You're going to have a lot. The West Coast takes a long time to set up. You've got this patrol craft. Let's just form a new task force, surface combat. We'll put the patrol craft in there, the Kimball. Uh, Done. There's not really, it's got a 2 ASW, so you can set a little patrol zone off of San Diego if you want. And let's just do that. We'll just have it go boop, 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 over and over and over. Just doing a little anti-sub in close. So I'll do 1, 2, and 3. It's got that very small endurance, 4,000 nautical miles, and so looks like it's going to be able to do this about 30 times before it needs more fuel. So eventually you may want to expand that out once you think the Japanese subs are here, but for now we're just going to protect the coast. I think that's realistic, right? All of these submarines, I mean, we could put these in a wolf pack to start with because we're going to send them out to Pearl Harbor uh, at the start. And really, they're going to be out by Pearl Harbor to begin with. Let's do sub patrol. Now, some of these are really mine layers. Let's go back and see how many mines we have at San Diego. Whoops, San Diego. There we go. We've already got 350 defensive mines. Okay, so I think we'll leave one of these sub mine layers out here. When I say sub mine layer, I mean they've got um, or they can load up these Mark 10 mines. I'll leave one back here because we can use it to mine San Diego, LA, all of this stuff along here as time goes on. Now we do have tenders here. When I say tenders, the ACMs that you see here, like the obstructor, they're a mine laying tender, meaning they go out and make sure your mines don't deteriorate at a quickened rate. They maintain the minefield. How about that? Um, okay, so let's do for this anyway. Let's just do sub patrol is what we'll call it, and we'll put these last three in here. Done. We could put the Gar and Grayling in there, but they're a little faster. I'll take them out by themselves because they're faster. They'll get to Pearl Harbor faster. So let's set them heading out to Pearl. Heading out to Pearl. That should have been a country song. Or it could have been a Sinatra song, maybe during the 40s for all the guys that shipped out. You're heading out to Pearl. Okay, I'll stop that. During the setup here, sometimes get a little crazy. The Gar and the Grayling. Now we'll form them up. Sub Patrol. They will eventually, they've got pretty good endurance. They'll probably end up somewhere out by the Philippines, I would imagine, to begin with anyway. So the Gar and the Grayling are in, and we'll put them out to Pearl Harbor. All right. And again, there we go. So now their home port is Pearl Harbor, and when they get out there, we will then decide what to do with them. So we've got the two subs down here. You see, we've got the patrol craft that's doing a little ASW. I could even set this. Actually, I will set this to ASW combat. Not that that makes a difference. I mean, he's still got the same anti-sub, but just so we're remembering what it's doing. We've got the carrier group. They're ready to go. We've got all the planes set up there. Okay, on we go. AS Fulton. Okay, I kind of like when I can set these up and do, a support task force, but it doesn't really look like we've got a bunch of similar type um, speeds, but then question how much that really matters. I guess we'll put some of these together. Let's try it. This is going to be support. Okay, now we're going to want to make sure that we put something like the AVD Ballard in. Um, just to give it a little anti-sub. Now, let's go back and just make sure the Ballard, yeah, it's got a 2. That's what I figured. Ballard's very fast. It's 27. We could leave it back around here. There's an aircraft tender. We've got a destroyer aircraft tender. We've got another aircraft tender. I mean, all of these support ships. APD, you've got transport destroyers. So this is actually can carry things. If we look at the waters, it's got a little bit of troop capacity. It's not great. I mean, it's got a little bit. Got the tankers. Why don't we set up these tankers really fast? The Montebello and the Larry Donahue. God, it sounds like a comedian or something. Um, there's tanker. Gosh, what's wrong with me? Montebello. Okay, these have the same speed, so we're gonna put them in together. They can take a lot of fuel out to Pearl Harbor. Now, if we exit out of here very quickly and go up to Los Angeles, you'll see LA has already got 200,000 in fuel or thereabouts. San Diego has got 19,000 in fuel. That these tankers would pretty much alone eat up San Diego's fuel. Now, San Diego will have more, but we're going to put these guys into Los Angeles. Now, I just said, oh, I want to put, cargo and fuel guys out of San Francisco. But for the first time around anyway, let's take them up to San Diego, or I'm sorry, from San Diego to Los Angeles. Let's have them fill up there because LA just gets so much fuel. So tankers will be one of the things we actually will send into LA to get a lot of that fuel. Because if we look at, so we'll just have them go up there, and then we'll call this tanker Pearl because that's where it's going to be going over and over and over and over, straight out to Pearl Harbor. We may eventually send something like this to Australia, but we're certainly not going to do it now. We've also got the Hagud and the Halo. They've got a little smaller, so let's go get them as a tanker task force. Haygood and the Halo. Okay. Looks good. I generally like to send destroyers with tankers or some anti-submarine, unit or naval unit. But in this case, it's first turn of the game. We're not going to do that. Tanker Pearl. Now, these guys will take some fuel out of San Diego. As a matter of fact, I may just make this a CS. So let's dock them. Let's load fuel. Okay. And let's run them out to Pearl Harbor. All right, so they'll go out there. There's absolutely no reason to have them refuel. They can make it there and back without a refuel, so let's do that. They're ready to go. Now the question is, do I go ahead and set their home port back to LA? I guess I will actually, just so we've got everything kind of coming back this way. Because of that, I can't set it up as a CS yet until it gets back to Los Angeles. Um, Okay, we've got some AKs sitting out here. Now, San Diego has quite a bit of supply, actually. A lot of AKs here. Now, I do like to break these up a little bit. We have a lot of like ships, but let's, I kind of like to never do more than three cargo ships in the same task force. And you may say, well, why is that? Or maybe you didn't say that. I don't know, but I ask why is that? It's just because what happens early in the game is you're going to get um, Japanese sub activity. It's going to show up over here on the West Coast. When I say early in the game, the first 4, 5, 6 months, you're going to get that. And when it happens, they are going to catch some cargo. There is just not a way to get away from that. And when they do, you would much rather they get less ships than more. Now, you may say, gosh, this guy is an expert. But really, I mean, I'm being serious here for a second. If a Japanese sub stumbles upon this cargo ship out here somewhere, losing three cargo ships not a big deal. You lose six, and now all of a sudden it becomes a little more of a deal. I'm still not saying it's a big deal, uh, but we'll put this on CS Pearl Harbor with three. And then I think did we have three more like? Yeah, but these guys have big, 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 big endurances. The Luckenbach and the Exmoor. So we're going to form a new task force there. We're going to do. There's cargo as I struggle to find my bearings. Let's just, when I do this with cargo, I like to take out the ones that are already in task forces, and I like to look at endurances because usually that means they're, if they have the same endurance, they're the same make a ship, generally speaking. So let's do the Exmoor and the Jacob Luckenbach. Done. We'll call this cargo. Oops. Oops. Come on now. Cargo Sydney. All right, so everything coming off the West Coast pretty much is going to go one of two places, either Pearl Harbor or Australia. Now, they don't all have to go to Sydney. Some can go to Brisbane. You could have some go to Melbourne if you wanted to. But these type of ships, when they've got almost a 15,000 endurance and over 5,000 capacity, you certainly want them going to Australia because you just don't have, a whole hell of a lot of these kind of ships. Into Sydney we'll go. Now, Brisbane or Melbourne, usually there's not as much sub activity around Melbourne. Just, quick hit there. Let's make its home port actually. Look at how much fuel is already in San Francisco. Let's make its home port. Well, gosh, now see, I'm going to go back on myself. Let's make it LA. I guess we will kind of split between LA and San Francisco. Did I do this with supply, by the way? Yeah, I was just making sure the one that I set up as a CS. So Sydney back to Los Angeles. All right, we're going to have to set up waypoints. It looks like we would just make it, so we'll just set this to a minimal refuel, meaning when it gets to Sydney, it's going to look, did we have to avoid anything? Did we go someplace we didn't want to or need to? Um, Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Oh, no, I hate when that happens. After I brought it all, let's mini map it. Make sure you get good use out of the mini map in this game. Okay, to Sydney, what I was going to do here is set up a waypoint. Use waypoints. Waypoint 1. And everything coming out of here. Now, Lodrick probably knows this if he's watched the videos, but everything coming out of San Diego, LA, that's eventually going to go to Sydney, I like to bring down this way. Now, maybe we'll mix it up a little bit. Not saying that Lodrick would cheat, or that's not even cheating. He's watched my videos before. I like to bring things down around Tahiti. I don't think that's a secret to anyone. We could bring it, I don't know. Why don't we bring it here? Or I don't want to get it too close to the islands. Let's bring it like here. That's waypoint 1 then. Yeah, see, we don't quite make it, but that's fine. We'll have it on minimal refuel. Now, let's see if we have to go set a waypoint 2. So it's going to come out here. It's going to arch. Well, I guess for early in the game, that's not the worst path, really. He's going to come down here around Rarotonga. I just like to say that and straight into, you know what, that's fine for early in the game. As I've talked about in my other Let's Play or the basic tutorials, this is kind of the fence that starts to, come around here. So Palmyra, Christmas, down into Pago Pago. So this is your fence that you want to keep electrified, if you will. I don't really love it going that close to Hawaii, but I think it'll be okay. So we'll just right click. We've got the one. He'll get a minimal refuel. Let's make sure that's on there. Yes, indeed. Now it's going to show us red, but we're okay. We kept the sub here. We've got the tenders here. Let's form a new task force. Let's do cargo. Now this is just San Diego. Now you can see why it takes so long to set up this game, but gosh, it's fun. Okay, these three look like they want to be together. They like to hang out. They're good friends. Three AKLs. Now, what I'm going to do with this, done, all right, we're going to go, cargo, just name it cargo. We're going to have these dock, and we're going to have them load supplies, okay. Then we're going to have these guys go out to, if they can they make it? Might be too far. Christmas Island. Well, I know it's going to be too far to go there and get back. It's 84, and then we're going to set their home port at Pearl Harbor. I'm actually going to do this with a waypoint too. Looks like yep, they'll have enough. Okay, so let's use a waypoint. And that way we immediately get some supply into Christmas Island. We don't have to worry about that. Let's just have them, I don't know, we'll have them head a little south first. So that'll be waypoint 1. They'll come down here over to Christmas, straight back up to Pearl. Ooh, gosh, that's weird. Comes all the way around there. Okay, fine. Um, let's look at this, just make sure. Yeah, That'll be fine. Okay. So I mean, these are very small. Once they get back to Pearl Harbor, we'll break them up and we'll send them out to individual islands. They're perfect to have at Pearl Harbor for that. So good. I'm glad we've got some of those. You can see the APs. We'll get there. We'll get there. Hold on. Now we've got some more light ships here. Let's do another cargo. All right. And let's get out of task forces. Let's go to endurance. I said not in task forces. There we go. These two, the Admiral Y. Williams, the Steel, the Steel Ranger. That sounds like a dirty movie you'd watch at night. Um, okay. Guess those two should go together. They're again a 13.6, pretty good endurance, not the greatest of speeds. Probably something eventually that may go to Australia, but for now it's not going to. Instead, we're going to dock it, we're going to load supply it, we're going to set its home port at all of these from San Diego. I'm just going to have to come back to Los Angeles. I kind of maybe overstated my case. I will try to have most of the troops come out of Los Angeles, but really it probably doesn't make sense to have like we're going to have all of the cargo come out of San Francisco. Every time I start a game, I think, oh, that's, how I would like to do it, but it never quite works out that way. So we're just going to do cargo Pearl with these guys. They'll go back and forth to Pearl. Once they come back to LA, we'll set them up in a continuous supply. Okay, form new task force. Let's go cargo. Um, Don't want you in a task force. Okay, let's do this. No. Um, the Mexican. Oh, we also have this Chickasaw City. Maybe I should put that in with the others. Now I said don't put more than 3, but I guess we could do 4. But for this one, let's do the Mexican. Okay, very hopefully that's not offensive to any. I don't know. Why would you just name a ship the Mexican? That's very interesting. Cargo. We're just going to call this cargo. We're going to dock it. We're going to load supply it. This is another one of those that will service the smaller islands. Oh, you know what? Actually, with this one, let's take this one north to someplace like Seward. No, actually, let's take this north someplace like Dutch Harbor. Okay. They actually have a little bit of supply out here. But let's take him to Dutch Harbor and then let's have him return to Anchorage. This is a pretty decent one to have up in Alaska. It's got no speed, it's got very little endurance, and not much cargo. So it's a crappy ship. If you're going to put it anywhere, Alaska's not the worst place. Um, Oh, so he is like these 3. That's fine. 14, 9, 12, and then these are the guys that have 11,000 with the 12 speed. So let's go down here and get not the Regulus, the Chickasaw City. All right, we'll put them together. So now I've broken my rule and I have 4 together, but I think we'll survive. So we'll do that. Now we're getting down to where we just have a lot of support type stuff. We also have the Bellatrix. 13.5, that's a speed 16 as, oh, see the Bellatrix you want to go with something like the Harris. So we're going to hold that. You want it to go with an AP. That's awesome that it could go with it. I mean, with that kind of cargo, you could take, a big, big unit. Uh, anyway, the Cayuma, let's form a new task force. Let's call this a tanker. Okay, and we'll get the Cayuma here, 10,013. Okay, done. This we're going to set up to Los Angeles to pick up fuel. It's an AO. It's ultimately an oiler. Oh, you know what I want to do with this? I'm not going to do what I just said I'm going to do. Let's right click. Okay, what am I going to do with this? Well, I'm going to actually load this up. Let's dock it. Let's load fuel. Let's take this out to Christmas Island. All right. We'll make its home port Christmas Island. Gosh, I hate how it does that. Sends it straight to Pearl Harbor. We're going to say do not unload cargo. So he's going to go out to Island and try to refuel anything coming through there that needs it. Let's set some waypoints. Use waypoints. Set waypoint. Now, if you don't like this part of the game, totally understand that. Some people don't. Like I said, I'm going to number these. This is going to be, I think, 3.3. And so if you don't like it, you don't like it. That's fine. Come back for episode 4, and I'll show you what happened last turn. Some people I know really love this. This is the game, right? And so I'm going to do all of these. I'm going to record it because I'm going to be playing this game anyway. I'm going to be doing this. I may as well record it because I know some people are very interested in it. So let's get the Harris and the Bellatrix, and let's put them together. It's going to be a transport. The Harris is there. Gosh darn, I wish it automatically came up like this. And the Bellatrix. Now these two, okay, he can take up to 1,700 in troops, 2,200 cargo. The Bellatrix obviously has a huge cargo load. Let's go see what happens if we dock and load troops. What's available to us? Okay, now we have some things not in strategic mode. The 8th Marine Regiment. Okay, so we don't have enough to take the troops. It needs a 3910. Okay. We do have enough to take the 2nd Marine Battalion, but we'd really like to send these two together, wouldn't we? So let's put these two in strategic mode. All right. We're going to need about 5,500, let's call it, and 5,100. So the Bellatrix can do that by itself, the cargo. But we need 5,100 in troop load. Holy moly. Because the Harris really doesn't have as much as I thought. Let's go in and look at, okay, the Santa Maria, which is actually pretty fast craft, 2505. The William Burroughs doesn't have much. This only gets us to 4,200. Gosh, even if I put all of these together, it doesn't look like we get there. Holy moly. Troop 2505. So it's really the Santa Maria you're going to want to send. Let's see, 3249. We need 5,500. Okay. Rightio then. Could we send the 1 Marine Battalion though? I think we could. Okay, done. Let's go back and go to load troops. All right. We could send the 2nd Marine Battalion, or if we put the two things together, we could do the 8th Marine Regiment out there, right? Um, well, I think that's what we do. Let's get the infantry out there first. So let's transfer a ship in there. Troop load. So it's the Santa Maria, which is actually quite fast as well. Done. Okay. Now load troops. Should say yes. It can take the 8th Marine Regiment. Let's select that unit. We're running a little tight there. So actually, you know what? Um, always make sure you take that offloading unit before you go back because it will put a little, 1% has been loaded. Um, what's this other 180? It's the Waters. It's an APD, so it should have. Let's put that Waters in there too. Now it doesn't have enough endurance to get there on its own, but it can borrow some. I believe the APD. Yes, look at that. 6 anti-sub. I love it. I love it. This is a Wix class APD, transport, destroy. Oh, wow. That's awesome. Okay. Load troops then. And now we really, yeah, now that looks good. It's not even an orange. Now we could have done that before, but now we get the anti-sub going with the 8th Marine Regiment. We're going to go out to Pago Pago. Could we take, I don't want to do that. Let's accept that. Okay. Now you can see they're starting to load into 4 different ships, and we'll go out to Pago Pago with that and set them down out here. Excellent. Let's do that with a waypoint. Now you can see showing his endurance wouldn't make it, that APD, but he will get fuel from the other ships. Um, they share amongst themselves. Let's just do it, kind of a 90-degree angle there to Pago Pago. In you go. He'll come back um, to Los Angeles is where I want this group to come back to. See if they have any problem with that. They do not. This is an excellent, excellent task force. I like the looks of that one. I like the cut of their jib. The William Burroughs is still sitting here. This is an AP that's got 750 and 1200. Okay. We're gonna want to put that in its own transport task force. Let's do that. Transport. William Burroughs, done. Now we'll put something else in it. I'm just not sure what yet. Let's see, cargo. Huh, interesting. Um, so we can take cargo for the troops. It's also loaded up with some stuff here, as you can see already. We could take one of these AVPs out. They can take a little bit of cargo, but for now, we got 750 and 1200 done. Just transport. I guess I should name the other one Transport Pago. But well, okay, okay, I will. Transport. It's not always going to go to Pago. There's really no reason to name these. When I was doing the tutorials, I showed people to do that because I feel like the first 100 times you play the game is probably helpful. Let's dock. Let's load troops. Now then, what can we get off of here at a 750? We've got these at, Pacific Fleet. These all should go out somewhere. It looks like this unit here, the 110th Base Force, should go somewhere because it's Pacific Fleet, so we can get it off of the West Coast without paying any kind of penalty. 792, 132, he could certainly take this. Oh, I say he certainly could, and then he can't. Oh, shit. 792. Let's go back. Is there any other troop transport here? Not really. Okay. Well, let's have him take the other one then. Um, Put him in strategic mode. We'll take him out of. I can't do that now. We'll get to this in a second. 101st U.S. Base Force. Let's look at this very quickly because I want to see. They've got 30 aviation support. Perfect. Um, okay, this is the one we would have probably wanted to take anyway. We're going to have to put a cargo ship in here though. 2550. Select unit. It's going to show too much. We'll go get a cargo ship though. Verified load. We're going to accept load. All right, we'll just accept it. And then we'll go in here and we'll go get a cargo ship or get some cargo. The Fulton could take some cargo, the Regulus, but these are already full. We're going to have to wait for a cargo ship to get here, or we're going to have to take something out of another cargo. Yeah, in task forces. There we go. Okay, let's get something that's got like 2,500, whatever our smallest cargo is up here. The AKs. We've got 1,700. Does that do it? It should do it. Those are 3 AKLs. We've got the 32. Oh, remember how we put these 4 together? You know what? Let's just give him the Chickasaw City. These guys on the Chickasaw City are getting whiplash. Done. All right. Just the load troops. Yay, yay, yay. Loading. Hold on, I'm just reading. Yeah, there we go. That's what I wanted. Good. Okay. Now, so I adjusted the load. Now they're going to load up. Okay, and now they're going on both ships, as you can see. These are pretty light ships, so that's great. Let's go. I'm going to right click. Let's actually go out here to Pago Pago, which is maybe one place we would want to send them. I mean, it's kind of the first place you want to start building up, but we could send them elsewhere. Certainly, they've got 30 aviation support, which most of the U.S. Space Forces do at the start. Let's exit out of that. Oh, there we go. Wow, that's a little faster, huh? So we have a base force here, motorized. It's only got 12 aviation support. What do we have on Suva at the start? I just can't remember off the top of my head. Back. Suva. We've got a Kiwi base force with only 9 aviation support. Okay, so let's send this base force. We could do either Pago or Suva, maybe out of San Diego, because we've got more that'll be coming. I guess this one out of San Diego, we'll just know that we're sending stuff to Pago Pago out of this one. All right, Chickasaw City, that's coming in. Let's have it go to Pago Pago. That is a little faster when you do it this way. There we go, Pago Pago. We'll send them separately. Let's use a waypoint. Kind of get to a 90-degree angle out here somewhere. Sure. How about there? How about that hex there? Oh, how about I hit set waypoint 1? There we go. All right, off you go. Let's set their home port back at Los Angeles. Excellent. Okay. Exit. So we have a base force and a complete Marine regiment heading out to Pago. All right, on we go. Sorry, I had to take a break there for a second. I'm back. So I had said Pago, Pago. I think that was the last thing I said, Pago, Pago. But we're still in San Diego. You can see all of the task forces we've set up. We've got a few more ships here that we need to do something with. Now, that sub we're going to keep here. We talked about that. Submarine tender does not need to stay here. There's no reason to have a submarine tender here when you have two big, major, massive ports around. It's got a pretty good speed to really go out there by itself, but I'll probably put it, I guess, maybe with the Ballard. I don't know. I always go back and forth on these. I think we can just put them all together. Let's just put them all together. We're going to send them first to Pearl Harbor. So we'll put the AS, the sub tender. We'll put the AVD, the destroyer tender, the two plane tenders, the two kind of auxiliary tenders. We'll put those all into one big task force that I'll name support, as if I wouldn't know that when I saw it. And off it will go to Pearl Harbor, and hopefully we can beat the Japanese subs there. I doubt we can. They're always dangerous and lurking. I think the AVD does have a little anti-sub. Indeed, it does. So we'll have them go out there, and also we want to set that as their home port initially. Now, why they want to do that, I don't know. Why do you want to go around this way, guys? Well, because of that, we're going to have to do a waypoint. Set waypoint 1. I don't know. Here? Sure. So they're kind of going in a straight line. Why do you guys want to do that? Set waypoint 2 here. All right, so we'll just go boop, boop. Hopefully. Let's see. Yeah, this is really weird. Okay, sure. Go however you want. I got a crazy ass captain on here. He's already drunk. The war's just started. All right, so we've done all of our planes. We've loaded troops on. We've done cargo ships and otherwise. We also set up the Saratoga here, its task force. Now, these guys, again, will not be in its task force for long. We'll probably actually send them back to the West Coast to do anti-sub there. Some of them maybe around Hawaii, but yeah, the Saratoga on its way. I will independently go back and set up the planes on the other two carriers. I just haven't done that yet. Okay, as we move up the coast, that brings us to Los Angeles, which only actually has 26 ships in port. You would probably think there'd be more. We've got float planes here, and we are going to have these float planes actually go out and do some naval search. We want it to be a little more defined here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to go back to those float planes because, well, these guys are 49 experience. They can cover a lot of this. This is what, 180? So let's start it off. We'll go backwards. How about that? We'll start it off going 180 to 270. Now they can only get out 6. Well, altitude is 6,000. That sounds fine to me. X, yeah, that looks good. Okay, perfect. That's a little naval search just to make sure there's nothing out there. Also, okay, yep, looks good. These are the OS2U, the Kingfishers. Okay, that reminds me though. Let's go back here and actually, you know what? These patrol craft, the Catalinas, there's only 4 of them. While I would like to train them, I actually want them to do some ASW straight to the west. So we need this to be about a, what, 190 maybe? Let's do that, and we'll do it. Start anyway. Let's call it 200 to 240. See what we got there. Ah, you got to give them a range. They can get out a long, long ways. Um, that's why oftentimes well, I don't know. They do good for sub stuff. I actually want this to be up this way more. Gosh, I thought I was far enough, but I guess not. We have to do 230 and 270 maybe? Yes, there we go. So now we've got some ASW searchers out here directly to the west of San Diego and Los Angeles. Perfect. Okay, so in LA, we've done the plane. What do we have here for troops at the moment? Supposedly we have everything at target. Well, we have a base force that we can get the heck out of here, I think, because we've already got the Los Angeles base force, which is static. We've got the harbor defenses. We've got 2 coastal AA regiments. That's probably okay. We'll probably just keep them here. That reminds me, let's go back to San Diego. Let's look through those troops one more time and see if there's any, I know we've got stuff that we want to get out of here. Port services, yeah, 1 amphib we'll want to get out of here. Okay, and you can always tell it from the screen from the start, really the things that, you can see what's not restricted, at least that you could, you don't have to buy out. Some of these are restricted, you can buy them out. Some are actually locked here, like the San Diego Base Force, it's static. You can't move that anywhere, obviously. Harbor defenses. This doesn't really have any AA, and we're sending the artillery out. We may have to move some AA down here just so they have it. I mean, are we expecting air attacks in San Diego? Well, maybe. I don't know. Not yet. Los Angeles. Let's see what we got here. Just quick look. We got a lot of cargo, a lot of tankers. Now they're more short-range tankers, really. 12,600. I mean, they're not necessarily built to Australia, but we may have to take them out there. Speaking of which, let's go over to San Francisco really quickly. Look at the 67 ships in port and look at the tankers there. Yeah, we don't even have any. Oh, yeah, we do. We have 3. They're kind of similar. I just want to see the fuel situation at Pearl, see how much I can get away with sending to Australia. I mean, we're at 609 on the fuel, so we're fine there. So we will send some of this to Australia out of Los Angeles. Let's just go ahead and do that. I generally like to do that. I don't know why. I like to do the tankers first. I like to move the fuel. So let's do tankers. Um, okay, we've got some 14s, these 12.6s. All right, so let's put the mobile fuel and the mobile station together. Uh, Done. Am I done? Is it done? Yeah, I think so. Okay. Um, Done with that. Look at that massive capacity. Let's dock that. Let's load fuel. We've got just an amazing amount of fuel here at Los Angeles, and you'll continue to get more. Let's take those over to Sydney. Okay. We'll keep the home port at Los Angeles. We'll have it come here. We could even do this as a CS, potentially. Let's do this as a yeah, we don't quite make it, do we? We'll just do this as a minimal refuel when it gets over there. Let's use waypoints. At waypoint 1, we'll go down through Rarotonga or somewhere abouts. We'll go out in this area. So it comes through this way. Return by the same route. Yes. Okay. So it is going to, minimally refuel when it gets there. It's going to load fuel, go to Sydney. Doesn't quite make it there and back. So we'll top it off a little bit. Let's go back down to San Diego. I want to make sure that the one, gosh, is going to take a moment. Sorry. The what we sent out to Sydney, Los Angeles, Pearl Harbor, Sydney. I just want to make sure with the waypoints that we have a return by the same route. Okay, there we go. There we go. Back to Los Angeles. Okay. Uh, we've got one set up. Now we're gonna go set up some more. Let's do tankers. Done. And let's do two of these together. Okay. I don't want more than two together with tankers generally. We're going to dock. We are going to load fuel, and we will take these out to Pearl Harbor. All right, we'll just set that up at CS. That's easy peasy. That'll just go back and forth and back and forth. Now, eventually, we may want to put a destroyer in there, but not yet. Tanker, we just don't even have enough yet, even if we wanted to. Tanker, um, the Pat Donny and the Manzanilla. Okay. We've also got this PC here. Okay, good, interesting. No, done. Let's dock. Let's load fuel. Let's go out to Pearl Harbor. All right, off you go. Excellent. So we'll set that up as a CS. No refuel needed. Let's make sure I put this on do not refuel. Right. No reason to take fuel out to Pearl Harbor and then take it right, some of it right back. So that's that. Los Angeles. We've got these two AOs. They're very different. You've got the Tippecanoe and the Platte. Um, the Platte really could go all the way to Australia. It's got an 18 speed, but we want to keep these Oilers somewhere close, fairly close. The Tippecanoe, I'm going to form that up. Um, we'll do tanker, done. Let's get the Tippecanoe, done. Let's have that go out to Pago Pago. We'll drop some fuel off. If I can find it is always the problem. There's Pago Pago, so let's drop some of that off. We already know the waypoint deal. Let's use waypoints. Set waypoint 1. Just down here somewhere. I feel like I sound like Bob Ross when I say that. Just a pretty little tree over here somewhere. Okay, and then we're going to set its home port at Pearl Harbor. That's where we'll have it come back to from Pago. Okay, excellent. And then we'll take the bigger of the two AOs, form a new task force tanker. And this one is the big old Platte. Um, done. All right, it's got nothing in it right now. Let's dock it. Let's load fuel it. This one, I don't know. We could actually take it all the way to Suva and drop off some fuel out there. I think I'll do that early in the game, just to get some fuel out to Suva. And that way we've got plenty of fuel at Pago Pago and at Suva. Let's set waypoints. Use waypoints. Set waypoint 1. right. Could just come out here somewhere. That's fine. And then we'll say return by the same route. Yes, it can't quite make it. So it says, but that's okay. It'll run out about right there. So it'll be fine. Um, oh, that reminds me. At San Diego, let's build forts. That's all we need. At Los Angeles, let's make sure we're building forts. Okay. At Santa Ana, yeah, we'll build forts because why not? Don't really care about the airfield there. Okay, so we've got most of our tankers taken care of. Patrol craft, the Travis, we'll just form that up. We'll make it a surface combat. We'll grab the Travis. Okay, he can do his thing. He's got an ASW of 2. Done. So we'll actually make him an ASW as well. Done. And then let's set a little patrol zone. Maybe we'll have him go a little further out. I mean, usually the subs aren't going to come in quite this close, but really with a patrol craft, they're going to come out to the channel. Realistically, right, this is what they would have done. Come out by the channel islands and patrol this way. Boundary 3. We'll just say is there, and now we just cover this whole area, and then we've got the other patrol craft covering there. So I guess if any sub did get in here close, we'd have a shot at it anyway. So that's the Travis. We also have these YPs. Let's actually look at one of those, see what they can do. They've got a 1 ASW. They've got, essentially no endurance. So that's fine. I mean, we'll call them ASW combat, but they're just patrol craft. Done. We'll put them together. Why not? We'll do a patrol zone. Set boundary 1. These run a much smaller arc. We could even have them come out this way, right? Why don't we do that? Let's do a 1 out to the corner here. And then we'll do set a boundary 2. I don't know, to this channel island? Sure. And just do it here. Okay, that's good. Those are done. Now then, what do we have left? Well, the ACM is the mine tender. We have the Barnett, which has a capacity of 2,800. You see it has an 1,100 troop load, a 1,700 cargo capacity. Okay, 1,100 and 1,700. We'll have to think about that. The Mariposa has a much bigger, that's 4,300 and 2,200. Oh, interesting. Okay. And then we've got a bunch of AKs. Now, um, sure, let's do our cargo. Cargo, done. Let's get your endurance here. Oh, look at the Aguamonte. That sucker's just begging to go to Australia. It's got 4550. Okay, let's do this one first then. The Aguamonte, fine. Let's dock it. Let's load supplies. It doesn't have a huge capacity, right? But oh well. We'll find other like ships eventually. This one, let's just have going to Brisbane for no reason. I mean, that wasn't scientific. Set waypoints, waypoint 1. We'll just have it come down this way, out and around Christmas, like that. And then it can go behind the fence, or so I hope. We'll say return the same. Yes, back. Sure. And it's going to come back to Los Angeles. Um, let's actually get out here. Just make sure. I don't want to be lazy. Let's just make sure we're behind the fence. We are not, and that's why you do it. Let's actually go out and around here, the Marquesas Islands. Waypoint 1. There we go. That should do it. All right, exit. All right, he does go south of all of these. Now, all right, I'm going to do it. Actually, waypoint 2. I want them to go, come in south of the Cook Islands as well. I mean, the reason being is the sub activity is going to be right there. There's no reason to just throw away a ship because you want to save a couple of moments. Form the cargo. Now you may be saying, is this game all about building cargo task forces? Yes. No, it's not. It's just on turn one, you got to get everything set up. Let's take the Inslee City, the Tuscaloosa City. I said we're not going to do four, so I'm going to do four. Nah, we'll do three in this one. We'll do three in another one, or two in another one. It looks like done. Cargo. All right, set destination to Pearl Harbor. We may split one of these task forces up, but not this one. We're in docket, load supplies, out to Pearl Harbor you go. Back to Los Angeles you shall come. Harbor, Los Angeles. I think that's perfect for a CS. No refuel. Do not refuel. No need for it. All right, let's do that. A similar type of thing again. Cargo. Task force is off. Endurance selected. We've got the Diamond Head and the Ohioan. Sure. Um, Interesting. These two cargoes could also potentially go out to Australia, and maybe that's what I'll have them do. We may need something for an AP though. We got to keep that in mind. Done. All right. Don't forget to dock it. Don't forget to load supply it. These two we may break up when they get out here. So we'll go to Pearl Harbor. We always need some cargo to go to islands from Pearl Harbor. Um, and it's always annoying when I don't have enough. These are pretty good ships to do that. I don't know. They have a really high endurance to do it, I feel like, to do that kind of stuff. But whoops. Let's auto disband them out there. So we'll also set their home port at Pearl Harbor. Gosh, it's doing this curly Q again. Fine. If that's how it wants to go, fine. Okay. Form new task force. Cargo. Done. In a task force? No. Endurance. These are the same speed. The Luckenbach. Wow, the Harry S. Grove has got some really nice speed on it. I think I want that to go with transports. So I'm going to put these two together. I think this Luckenbach and the Grove I'll keep for the APs. Done. Okay. Let's dock it. Let's load supply it. Okay. Let's have that go to, shit, I don't know. We could have this one go into Melbourne, I guess, just to mix things up a little bit. That puts him just over. So actually, I'm not going to do that. Let's have him go to Sydney. Okay. Let's set our waypoints. Set waypoint 1. Get much further south here for this one. I would go out around the Marquesas Islands. Okay. We'll have to do a minimal refuel. Now, some of these I'll have stop in Auckland sometimes. Let's have this return by the same route. Yes, back. And let's do a minimal refuel. Okay. I think we can do this CS to Sydney. Sure. Fine. And then we've got these last two um, good cargo ships. I want to leave and have them go with transports when we need something big. The two AKLs will form a new task force. Cargo, let's go grab these. 65, 65, done. All right, let's dock it. We'll load supplies. Okay, we'll set them out to Pearl Harbor. Tell you what, I think this is the ones we'll disband out there. Let's auto disband these and let's set their home port to Pearl Harbor. We're doing the curly Q again. I think it's because right now they're trying to avoid what's been spotted out there. Okay, so these will disband when they get out there and they can go to the small islands. So let's go back to the one that I had doing that. Say, no, you're going to come back to Los Angeles. We'll return to Los Angeles. Um, Same. All right, that'll just be CS Pearl Harbor then. CS for supplies, no refuel. Do not refuel. Okay, we've got 5 ships left in port. We've got 2 APs, an ACM, and 2 AKs. All right. Do I want to take any of these things out there? Now, we can't take these two. We probably don't want to take this, but we could certainly take the base force. The load cost is cargo's 2,500, troop is only 456. Okay. Um, that's not going to get it done for the cargo. That would get it done for the cargo, but really that's too good to send out, an AA group on it. Um, okay. I think what I'm going to do is take this Mariposa. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm going to be railing things over here. So we're just going to let them sit for now. I could also take. Is that true? No, it's not true. Actually, I'm going to go back, grab this Mariposa, the AP. Yeah, okay. I'm going to make a transport group out of this, form a new transport group. Okay. I'm going to get the Mariposa, and I guess I'll get the. Either one of these is good, I think, for what we're going to be doing. That's a speed 22. Let's get this the 16 done, and let's send them over to San Diego. Maybe we'll bring a lot of troops into San Diego instead of Los Angeles. Um, and I'll have that, actually, let's right click that. Let's have that remain on station, sitting there, and we're going to pick up some of that really nice big unit there. We're going to pick that up over in San Diego. As a matter of fact, let me write that down so I don't forget. Pick up troops in San Diego, and that is going to be the Mariposa, San Diego. Okay, it's stuck in my head now. These we will leave here for now. When we come back next time, I'm going to call this an episode. I'm going to try to keep them to about an hour if I can. I'm going to be putting these up quickly because I got to get the turn back to Lodrick before he yells at me. When we come back, we're going to continue to move up the coast, get up into Australia. Shit, we still got to do all of Australia. We're going to get up into Alaska. Next time, I hope we're going to continue up the West Coast. Again, if it's not your cup of tea, I understand that. I love it. I know a lot of other people love this kind of, getting down into the nitty gritty. Now, it will move faster once we get out of San Diego and LA, obviously. San Francisco has a lot of ships, but those will be easy to put together. But up here, we'll fly through that. And then we'll start going through island chains. We'll start going through Australia, Burma, and otherwise. So anyway, this has been Strategy Gaming Dojo. I'll talk to you next time. Have a good one.